The voice of sharing Durian ASEAN.
Hi, this is Arlene, and we are starting our top 10 ASEAN news, but we will be reading just a couple of it. The highlights is the first one: at least 4 people killed in South Korea ferry disaster, and 284 people still missing. It is reported by the Straits Times. So a massive operation is underway off the coast of Jindo Island in South Korea, where a ferry carrying more than 450 passengers and crew sank on Wednesday, killing at least 4 people and leaving almost 300 people still unaccounted for. We begin with quite a set revelations on the missing South Korean ferry. So
yeah, that's very tragic, Arlene. And seems that as of Wednesday night, they have so far rescued 174 people, but there are still 284 people who are still missing, and we don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, and even the Korea Herald say that the cause of the accident was not yet determined, but the passengers suggested that the ferry hit a reef just before 9 a.m. when the vessel jolted with a loud noise. So the rescued passenger also speculated that a thick fog may have contributed to the accident. But a meteorological office said the area was actually clear with visibility of about 20 kilometers. So there are some just speculations and maybe just suggestion by some of the rescued passengers. But anyway,
so I think also the strong currents of the waters are hampering the rescue workers from properly conducting their search, which is really sad because I'm sure the families are waiting to know what's happening to them.
Yeah, and some of the passenger on board includes 324 students and 14 faculty members from Danwon High School who were traveling to Jeju Island on a school trip. So this is not really something that any parents would want to know. Their kids,
who are still in school,
still missing. So anyway, we extend our condolence to the family of the victims, and we hope that the authorities and the search and rescue team would be able to find the missing ship as soon as possible. So the next news. Is in Borneo. Is in Brunei. But it's reported in Borneo Bulletin. So it was reported that non-Muslim Brunei's cannot drink in public, even abroad. So this is a very interesting news, I would say, because alcohol consumption by the public by non-Muslim citizens or permanent residents during their time abroad would be punishable under the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the Sharia Penal Code Order 2013. That is interesting, and it will be implemented in Brunei on April 22nd, which is the date the Sharia law or the Hudud law will be implemented as well.
So let me just get this clear. They not only cannot drink in their country, they cannot even drink when they're abroad.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's the case. And this was made clear by a panel of speakers at the Sharia briefing conducted especially for the International Student Association in University Brunei Darussalam. This gets a lot of people, I think. Maybe you can say alcohol consumption is not really something that is if you drink too much, of course you'll get drunk.
And probably not in like a Muslim country, but to ban them from drinking even abroad, that's kind of ridiculous.
I think the idea is they should have a right to drink, even though they might not necessarily have to drink it or need to drink it, but I think everyone should be given a right to do so if they want to.
Yeah, and it's their own freedom of choice, so the government shouldn't be meddling with where they're drinking and what they're drinking, I think.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, on a positive note, I'm not sure whether this is positive or not, but in relation to that, it was actually clarified at the briefing that private alcohol consumption is okay, just not public.
Okay.
So you can drink at your home, get drunk all you want in the house, but not outside. So, and in the next news, we go forward to Myanmar. So at Radio Free Asia, it was reported that Suu Kyi questioned Myanmar's government commitment to democracy. This is in relation to Myanmar's opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi has criticized President Thein Sein's administration for not pushing for constitutional reform. He says that she said that her party was greatly concerned by the government's lack of action on bringing about charter change ahead of the key 2015 elections, which will be next year.
Yeah, that's right. Because they are still not doing anything about their military rule in the country, and they are striving for a democratic nation. So it's kind of two contradicting ideas, because you cannot have a military rule in a democratic country.
I mean, we have to know that the constitution, the existing constitution that we have in Myanmar, was formulated in 2008, and that was during the military rule.
Right.
So if you are transiting towards democracy, you need to have a new constitution or an amended constitution that reflects the spirit of democracy and the voices of the people of Myanmar.
Yes, exactly. You cannot still have a very autocratic system of the military and then strive to achieve a democratic nation. It doesn't work that way.
And Suu Kyi warned that the way the government addresses this problem will influence the outcome of the elections planned for next year, the second since the landmark 2010 polls, which led to the junta's relinquish power to Thein Sein's quasi-military government after nearly 5 decades of rule. So she's also urging the international community to have more, emphasis on this. So I think Aung San Suu Kyi is doing all she can to push forward, true democracy.
Yeah, she's trying to get all the support she can get to make the country a peaceful and united state that they were at one time. So she's really trying to go back there to get everyone united.
Yeah. I hope, I wish for the best in Malaysia from us. In Myanmar as well, titled Old Identity, New Identification from Mandalay Minorities. This was reported in the Myanmar Times. So
it seems that many in Myanmar are holding two affiliations, what it says on their national registration cards and what it says in their hearts. So they're really hoping that this new 2014 consensus can help to change that, because they are still a minority in the country, and they want to be sure about their status as citizens.
Yeah. What is stated in their card? Huh?
Their card?
Yeah.
Well, because most of them are not originally from Myanmar. They are from this place called Manipur, which is now a part of India. But at one time, it was controlled by the Burmese kings. So they were brought back as prisoners. They served as horsemen in the country, craftsmen, astrologers. So they've probably been in Myanmar for a while now, and they're just they want their citizenship, I guess.
Yeah, and they also want to ensure that this particular tribe, Mien Tien Kiet, is recognized as Chin, because it is important to for their identity to be recognized, so they can pay homage to their ancestor, and also, to their historically, they have been living in Mandalay quite sometimes, and one of the person that said by Do New Hiang said that our language, tradition, and lifestyle are the same as Chin ethnics. So being part of the census is definitely important to almost all the ethnic minorities in Burma. So
I think it's the same as probably what we're going through in Malaysia here, because it says that they are actually allowed to list Myanmar or Buddhist they can actually list Myanmar as their race, but people will still question them, saying you look Indian, you look Chinese, you know.
Yeah. It's
Which is
similar
the
in
same
Malaysia.
thing, yeah. You tell people you're Malaysian and they're like, yeah, but you're Chinese, you're Indian.
I think this is a similar situation that, Myanmar and Malaysia are facing, because we are very multicultural to the extent that, everyone can be a Malaysian, everyone can be a Myanmar in in the respective countries. So to me, it's a great move. But there are still racism happening towards the Muslim Burmese, unfortunately. It has been reported that in 1990, a policy change at the immigration department meant that Muslims were no longer permitted to identify as Burma. So this is not really something good, and they are systematically discriminating against Muslim, and another ethnicity would be the Rohingyas, as we discussed earlier. So in that sense, it's still something. The census is very important. It's a very important document, not just for Myanmar government, but for the Myanmar people, because this is one of the proof that the Myanmar has embraced democracy in that sense.
Yeah, it also gives them a new identity as a whole, maybe as Myanmar citizens, as opposed to having so many different races and ethnicities.
And the next news is of two Lebanese in Thailand custody over possible Hezbollah ties. So we have two suspected foreign terrorists who has been held for questioning regarding possible involvement with the Islamist Hezbollah militant group. The National Security Council confirmed yesterday. However, they found no link with the group at this stage. And also Israel has mentioned that about this group but there is no conclusion yet whether the men are members of the group, which is the Hezbollah group. And nevertheless, a high-ranking source identified that the two men as Lebanese-French, his name is Daoud Farhat, and also Lebanese-Philippine, Yusuf Ayat.
Right, so it seems that both of them are under the watch list of the Thai immigration, and they were separately visited during the Songkran break by immigration police and taken from their homes in Sukhumvit, if I pronounced that correctly.
I think it was pronounced correctly.
Yeah.
And they visited the Songkran festival separately, right?
Yeah.
Before being taken from their homes.
And they were
in
both
Sukhumvit.
engaged in fighting and attacks, that have resulted in the loss of lives. So I guess that's the main reason why they were arrested in the first place.
Just a backstory about Thailand as a popular destination for Israeli tourists, particularly young Israeli who tend to take time off to travel the world after completing their service. So they always choose Thailand, not Malaysia. I don't think they can come to Malaysia anyway, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So after their services in the Israel Defense Force, they usually would come to Thailand and spend their holiday. And however, Southeast Asia region has also become problematic in terms of terrorism, given the ease with which the local passport are forged and also their common usage. So instead of going straight to Israeli, they attack Thailand.
Right, it's probably because they are not allowed in Malaysia, so they don't really have a choice but to actually go to Thailand, which is really close.
Anyway, we still have some time to report one extra news, which is about Muay Thai, justice for brawlers, seen as a right violation. So the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, yesterday said Buriram Football Club president Newin Chop ideas to bring on stage the youngsters who has been fist fighting during the club's Songkran festival to fight with professional Muay Thai boxers was a rights violated. So what is saying that we don't want you to fight outside. We want you to solve, whatever issues that you have with each other by fighting on the boxing ring. So using violence to solve it in the end.
Yeah, and
at the end
also
of
it
the day.
says that this freestyle matches without referee reflects the Thai society's people, how they deal with their problems using violence. And this actually violates the youngsters' rights and liberty if such fights resulted to injuries or even death.
Yeah, that's true, right? I mean, I think I personally do not think that any issues. I mean, especially recommendation by people from from the football club.
Who are getting hurt all the time.
Yeah, they shouldn't solve issue via violence. They should solve it. There are many more activities or competition that they can solve disagreement, and I think sports will be one of the best way.
And another problem with this also, according to Niran Petakwachara, he said individuals who are injured in the boxing ring could actually file lawsuits because this was regarded as a criminal case. So that is also a liability for them because they have to deal with all this being sued by the lawyers.
This is a case of people talking without thinking. Yeah. I agree with the NHRC, which is the National Human Rights Commission. Violence will not solve anything, and everything should come under proper law and order to settle any fights or issue among youngsters. So, like I said earlier, why don't they have a more healthier competition or activity to solve the fightings or the issues with each other, like sports,
Yeah, they should probably start having more programs for the youth, maybe, so they can be preoccupied with something.
That's true. Like
as opposed to
like
fighting.
football, the football ranking among Southeast Asian are not that good. We are still not on par like South Korea, and of course, like sepak takraw, it's one of the Thailand is one of the best in terms of playing the sepak takraw.
So there's also one interesting news here, which is a short one. It's about plastic surgeons in Vietnam who actually caused a lot of damages to their clients, and now they are back in business.
Wow.
So,
which country is that?
This is in Vietnam.
Vietnam.
So a lot of these, their clients complained that this one lady, she went to do her breast, but they punctured her breast with a sharp steel cane.
Oh my God.
That left her chest with holes the size of a chopstick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She was apparently, he said he studied cosmetic surgery in US and promised that her breast would blossom like an 18-year-old's. But in the end, the whole thing screwed up, and she was disgusted by the sight of her breast. And the whole thing, I think it costed nearly 50 million Vietnam.
I see.
And it's equivalent to 2,372 USD. So that's a lot of money to spend on cosmetic surgery.
That's how beauty would cost. But in the end, it backfired. What do you think of plastic surgery as a whole? Is it the problem of society for wanting to be more beautiful, or is it the plastic surgery industry is not well developed enough in Vietnam?
Well, I think it's really a choice if someone wants to go for plastic surgery or not. But personally, I'm against it. I think that you should just learn to be grateful with what you have. But maybe it will help some people be more confident or whatever. But then again, there's all this risk of you making things worse instead of making things better. So
that's true. Oh, maybe we haven't reached the age where our skin are all sagging and we are worried about.
Yeah, maybe much later in life.
But I agree with you. Personally, I don't think that we should focus too much on our physical beauty as much
exactly.
as we should put more effort to enhance our our own internal beauty and our own intellectual ability as well. So do more activities that will enhance your happiness, internal happiness, rather than focus too much on how beautiful a person is on the outside. So that's all.
Yeah, that's all the time we have for today.
Yeah, it's a very quick news. We hope that you enjoy our news reading, and see you tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks
next week, by the way.
Yeah, next Monday.
Next Monday we'll be back.
We'll be back.
More news. Top 10 ASEAN news. Thank you.